Hey, what is going on everybody? Stefan here with another follow along at home workout for you guys. I hope you're well, feeling strong and ready for this training session today. This is designed for beginners to intermediate, so this is going to be great for you if you are just starting out, starting to use resistance training in your exercise. If you are an intermediate, if you are pushing a little bit more, then you can of course use a little bit more resistance and you can add more intensity through faster movements, get the aerobic system working a bit more intensely. But I'm going to be going slow and deliberate. The focus for this workout is control and good technique. So I'm using two 10 kilo dumbbells for the workout today. I wouldn't suggest starting off with that if you are in the beginner level, but you might go with a lighter weight, maybe 3, 4, 5 kilos. Go with what you think is right for you, and if you're unsure, or you always go lighter than you think you might need, because you can do the workout later on in the week and scale things up a little bit more if you need to. So the workout today is going to go like this. We've got 2 sequences, and each sequence is 3 exercises, which we'll work through one by one. We've got 50 seconds work and we've got 10 seconds rest, and then at the end of each round we've got a 30-second recovery, and we repeat that sequence, like I say, 3 times in total before we move on to the second sequence. So for the first sequence, going to run through the exercises now. We have a one arm clean to press. Okay, so we're going to work all the way through on one side with that one arm clean to press from the floor to overhead, nice and slow, and then we're going to go on to the other side. So whether you start on the left or the right, it's up to you. Our third exercise in that first sequence is going to be a plank, a high plank with alternate shoulder taps. So I've got the bench here with me today, so I'm going to be using the higher level to make that a little bit easier for that 50 seconds of work. Again, if you are a beginner, it's going to be easier to go with a higher position for those hands rather than on the floor from the outset. Our second sequence is going to be a squat to overhead press, and we're alternating the sides. So it's a squat, then an overhead press on one side, squat, overhead press on the other side. Second exercise is an inverted V twist. That's a single dumbbell, and our third exercise is going to be alternate leg reach outs. So no dumbbell for the reach outs this time, but we are on the mat. So you want to get a nice comfortable solid mat underneath you for that last exercise of our second sequence. We're going to get into our warm up now, so make sure you've got some space. I'm going to start off with hands on hips, taking our hips around in these nice smooth big circles. So if you've seen my videos before, you know I really like this exercise. Often start with this one, but it's a great exercise to include almost in every warm up, just to connect with the back, the hips, and see what they're capable of in terms of movement. If there's any stiffness there, and you can spend a little bit more time warming those areas up if need be. But the back, the hips, the pelvis, the IT bands down the side of the legs as well. So we're going to go back the other way and just guiding that movement with my hands, kind of hands around the crest of the pelvis, and not pushing or forcing anything into a position or a pace that is uncomfortable, but just going with what movement is available and maybe enhancing that over the course of this warm-up. A little bit more movement and freedom through the body by the end of it, hopefully. So we're going to go into a rotation next, nice and tall. I'm bringing my hands out in front, nice long reach, and working around the body. Again, nice and smooth, not rushing it, not throwing the arms around. And I'm using my rear foot as I come around. What becomes my rear foot is coming up on the ball of the toe. That way I'm avoiding putting the twist through the knees, but rather through the spine. And again, through the hips. Nice movement, this one, to get the spine, shoulders and the hips moving. All right. From here, I'm going to reach up and over. Now we're warming up, so probably a little bit stiffer than we will be at the end of the workout. So I'm not going to force and reach maybe quite as far, but I'm getting a nice stretch down the side of the body. I'm also not lingering in that stretch for quite as long as I might do in the cool down. So just reaching, getting that motion is lotion. The more we move, the more lubricated and mobile the body becomes. One more on each side. Okay. All right, from here, I'm going to go feet together. I'm going to step out down into a squat. Get the inner thighs, a little bit of a stretch there. Also working the glutes, not too fast. Again, really just warming up, so nice and slow. Bring my hands out in front so I can sit my hips back into the squat and increase that range of movement, not looking for taxing the muscles too much or building strength. This is just to mobilize everything. All right, from here, going to go with a wide stance, point the toes out slightly, reach across to the opposite knee, shin, ankle, or just as far as is right for you to reach. About 30 seconds now before we get into our first exercise. So again, you'll see it on screen in a moment, the one arm clean to press, using one of the dumbbells, setting up between the feet in that kind of squat stance. All right, 15 seconds, last couple of these. Shoulder roll, and we'll get our dumbbell at the ready. So, setting up once again, feet either side of the dumbbell. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Clean to press. I'm not rushing this, just taking it nice and controlled, not looking to work too explosive. Okay, we're not Olympic lifting. We're just getting that weight, that dumbbell, from the floor up to the shoulder, and then to press arm's length. So I'd begin with an inward breath, finish with that outward breath. Take your time, move slowly, controlled, deliberate, but you are in constant motion. Notice my free hand is out to the side, even adding a little bit of rotation in the body, letting that hand come behind me on the way down. 5 seconds more. Breathe out on the way up. And last one. Excellent. Nice easy switch to the other side. Here we go, 5 seconds. Same stance, other hand. And off we go. Clean to the shoulder and then press up and overhead. Now you don't need to go to the floor and touch down on the floor with the dumbbell each rep, but you can if you want to. And again, that's just to emphasize how much control I'm putting into this. This is not working explosively to create that power that we would with a heavier weight that we'd need that speed for. Deliberate, time under tension, focus on control, core engaged, 15 seconds more. And breathing out with that press overhead, tight grip on the dumbbell. And 2, 1, excellent. High plank, shoulder taps. So again on screen you can see I've got my hands close together, feet wide. Tap, tap. Keeping the hips as square as I can, level to the floor. I'm right up on the toes. I'm not going to let my heels sag down behind the point of contact at the toes. I'm trying to keep my shoulders directly over those palm heels. So for me on this bench, palm heels just on the front edge of that bench. You want something that's stable, isn't going to tip or move around. A little exhale with each lift. Just tap the shoulder. And it's not about how fast you go through these, a high rate of reps, but the slowness, the control with which you execute this movement. 3, 2, 1. Whew. And again, using that level, the position of the hands, can make this accessible. Again, even if your upper body strength isn't where you want it to be just yet. But yeah, from the floor, quite a challenging high planks, push-ups for 30 seconds or more, really challenging. So make it right for you. It's just like selecting the right resistance. You wouldn't use a dumbbell that's definitely too heavy for you to work with. Same thing when it comes to those body weight movements. Okay, 5 seconds. We're going to get into our our clean to press. Weight into those heels, sitting the hips back so the dumbbell is moving vertically the whole way through the movement, from the floor or from arm's length to overhead via the shoulder. I'm leading with my elbow, getting the hand underneath the dumbbell. And as I say, if you're going with a light enough resistance, you can work this exercise even if you're still learning the technique. So up, like you're heaving a bag onto your shoulder, and press. 2, 1, complete that last rep. Well done. Okay, 5 seconds. Again, nice and easy switch, just swap hands, same stance, and clean, to press. And down we go. Same again, just keeping that movement continuous. Good. And that free hand, once again, it comes behind me on the way down, almost to the side or out in front even on the way up. So getting that sling system in the body. And legs, hips, shoulders, all working together along with the cardio as we build up. 5 seconds more. And drive tall with each rep, tight grip. Excellent work. Okay, so back onto our bench. Again, hands close together, feet wide. And tap, tap, tap. Navel in. I'm drawing my navel, my belly button up toward my spine. Not letting my hips drop or bringing those hips up too high either. I want to keep my shoulders directly over those palm heels. Don't stray away from the work and come back. Okay, keep those heels up and over the toes. And 20 seconds to go. Great one for the shoulders, the triceps, backs of the arms, the chest as well. Whole body core. Hip flexors, quads, obliques. All right, really getting the trunk working. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Whew, okay, we get a 30 seconds recovery and we go into our third and final round of that first sequence. So squat position is that clean to overhead press. Single side, one arm. I'm going to switch these from the side so you can see the technique from a different angle. Okay, so 10 seconds still. Grab a sip of water if you want to. Little sips, always best. Here we go, 5 seconds. Either hand to begin. Okay, dumbbell in position. And clean, and press. Down, and up. Breathing in time with the movement. Good. Comfortable distance between the feet. Tend to go with a slightly wider than hip width stance. And you can see from this angle how the hips sit back. And plant my feet, those heels flat into the floor. Really important to keep those heels flat to the floor. So we're getting biceps, triceps, shoulders, lats. But the driving force, of course, is the lower body. Glutes, hamstring, quads. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Keep it from the same angle. Again, a nice easy switch. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And up. And press. If you can imagine, almost like starting a lawnmower or a strimmer, something like that, that pull from the floor, or as I said earlier, heaving a bag, a shoulder bag up onto the shoulder, but control. Cumulative repetitions here, building up that work through the hips, through the core, through the back. 10 seconds left to go now. Once again, find the way of moving that feels comfortable for you. That free hand, creating some synergy, and very, very good. All right, one more time. A high plank with shoulder taps, and lift, 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 lift. Slow movements. Again, it's not about the high number of reps. It's about the time under tension we create when we go to that one-handed position, that single hand doing the work to hold us up. Still keeping that structure strong through the body. Navel in, strong core, up on the toes. Okay, the ankles are working, hips are working, the deep core muscles are working, muscles through the spine are working, shoulders are working. 5 seconds now, doing well. And 2, 1. Very, very good. Once again, we get a little bit longer recovery now, 30 seconds. Okay, so squat to shoulder press, alternating sides. So just one side shoulder press for every squat we perform. Okay, so cumulatively we're building up the work in the legs from that first sequence now into the second sequence. We've got 15 seconds more. So again, grab a sip of water, little sips are best. Then we've got our inverted V twist and that leg reach outs. But here we go. Dumbbells in the racked position, and it's down, up, down, up. So I'm keeping that movement fluid, using the work, the upward drive of the legs to help. That dumbbell is in constant motion, upwards. But it's not super explosive. I'm not driving up, creating a lot of momentum. It's time, under tension, controlled work, particularly on the way down. Breathing in on the way down, breathing out on the way up. Feet a comfortable distance apart, mine hip width, thereabouts. Elbows down toward the knees if you can, otherwise just as low as you can go. Last one. Excellent. Single dumbbell for an inverted V twist. Okay, here we go. Feet planted to the floor from one hip, overhead, and then down to the other. Now again, I'm slowing this down deliberately to make the work through the shoulders, through the core, manageable. Now exhale on the way up, almost as if I was going to throw the dumbbell up. Coming down past the line of the hip, just slightly adding in that rotation through the body. Keeping constant motion, tight grip, long lever. That's where we get the work through the core, so that long reach, that long lever. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Down onto the floor. Hands down by the sides. And here we go. One leg reaching out, coming back. Nice and slow. With the hands on the floor. We've got a bit of extra support. We're keeping that lower back flat to the floor. Okay, so not arching. We want to really be strict if we can. If you need to bring the knees higher up to the chest, like so, that's an easier position. It presses the lower back into the floor. The further out the knees are, to start with, the more work you're going to have to do through the core. 15 seconds more. Slow. You can even pause at the low position. Breathing in as we reach away from the midline. All right, very good. Whew. Effective one there for the lower part of your abdominal muscles. Again, if you need to make it more challenging, move the knees, the legs further out to start with. Slow it right down. You can even hold that low position for up to 5 seconds. So really a low number of reps in the reach out, but it's that time under tension through the core. But again, make it manageable for where you're at. So our squats next. Okay, squat to overhead press, that is. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Down, drive up. Dumbbells in that racked position, shoulder height. You can kind of rest them against the shoulders, that's fine. And breathing out. Keep the knees wide. If the knees start kind of caving in, could be some tightness through the hips we need to work on. But if that happens, then narrow the stance slightly. And 15 seconds. We're trying to keep those knees just as wide as is comfortable. Again, just as low as we can. Chest up, weight into the heels. 3, 2, 1. Good. Single dumbbell for our inverted V twist. Starting off at the hip, then up overhead. Good. Again, with a weight that's right for you. This exercise should move quite smoothly, but the longer the reach is, the more you'll feel it working. Using leverage, weight, and pace. Those 3 variables can change the exercise a great deal. Slow, deliberate movements. Core and back, shoulders. And you can hear from my breath, the cardio building through this workout. 5 seconds more. 2, 1. Excellent. And we're down once again on the floor. Okay, make sure there's space for the reach out. Hands down and out and in. Good. Keeping that navel drawn in, low down toward the spine, lower back flat to the floor. Good. And you can hold. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. If you feel you can, working against the weight of the leg, keeping that lower back and core solid and strong. And 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, let's come up. We've got one more round, one more time through that sequence. Doing well, you got this. So once again, it's the 2 dumbbells for our first movement. Squat to overhead press. So quite a short rest between each exercise. That'll get the breathing up over the course of the sequence and challenge you. Okay, here we go. Racked position. Down, up, just as far apart with the feet as is comfortable. Slightly turned out foot position. And driving the dumbbell to straight, full reach overhead. Nice flat back. And drive. Good. Just going to turn so you can see this movement from the side here. Down and up. Triceps, shoulders, core, back, hips, glutes, quads, and the hamstrings together. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Okay, one more time. Inverted V twist. That single dumbbell, tight grip, and good. Letting the dumbbell come past the line of the body, and we're moving with effort in both directions. So I'm working on the way up, I'm also working on the way down, so there's no let up, active through the whole range of movement. Navel in, once again, to keep that solid connection through the hips, through the low back, through the shoulders. 10 seconds, long reach to get the most out of the work. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great stuff. So one more time, down onto the floor, working the core and lower abs. Now if you want to make it more challenging, can take the arms away from the floor, across the shoulders like so. So there's less assistance for that stabilization from the upper body. Again, slow. Lower down towards the feet with that starting position of the knees. Holding for longer in the low part of the movement. All ways to make it challenging, but working what's right for you. Really keep that lower back flat to the floor, navel in and connected. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just finish that last side and rest. Excellent. Whew. And that is our workout. Whew. Very well done. Great job. So we're going to get into our cool down now. Just breathe and we'll go hands on hips. Finishing off as we started. Just taking those hips around. And again, checking in with how that feels now compared to how it felt at the beginning of our warm-up. Just that little bit more freedom, perhaps maybe a lot more, particularly pushing out to the edges here and here, those IT bands now, and gluteal muscles a bit warmer, a bit freer. We'll change direction. Just guiding with the hands, getting that breathing back under control. So, nice smooth movements. Okay. Excellent. From there, same sort of stance, I'm just going to reach up and across. And I'm side bending as well as reaching with the arm to get that stretch right the way through the side of the body, the lateral fascia, the lats, intercostals, quadratus lumborum, a muscle in the lower back, between the pelvis and the lower ribs, even a little bit into the top of the glutes, just here in the hip. Reach across, again holding it for slightly longer than we would with our warm-up. And breathe. Excellent. I'm going to go with our rotation next. Creates a nice breeze across the arms as we move. And just, again, loosening up through the spine. We've loaded up with those squats and core movements. And create a nice free moving spine and ribs before we finish up. Just as far around as is comfortable. A little bit of stretch through the chest as well as we bring that arm back each side. Excellent. So we're going to go into our hamstrings next. Take one foot, step it forward, bend the rear knee, and as I reach down, whether it's to the mid-shin, ankle, foot or lower, feeling that stretch through the hamstrings. Slowly coming up, step back, step forward. Just going to switch the feet, nice and easy. And just as low as is comfortable for that hamstring. A couple more times on each leg. We'll step, keep that balance. Hands can go on the knees or to the floor. Nice and slow, come back up. Down again. And let's go one more time on each. Down. Okay, 60 seconds more of our cool down. And up. And down. Really important to keep those hamstrings nice and supple as much as we can. All right, coming up slowly, we're going to go into the inner thigh now, the adductors. As I lean my body weight to one side, but then tilt back to the straight leg, I'm going to get that stretch through the inner thigh. Slowly up and over to the other side. Again, body goes one way, then upper body leans back towards the other way. And again, switch. 20 seconds still. Just as far as is comfortable for that stretch, for all these stretches. And all right, so we're going to finish off with a bit of shoulder roll, low to high, front to back. And there we go. So the shoulder blades moving around nice and smoothly across the upper back. A little bit of stretch to the chest as well as we bring those shoulders back. All right, very well done. Great job. Once again, our focus there is on slow, deliberate, controlled movements, quality movement over explosiveness, but that cumulative effect, as you can experience there, you can hear from me, builds up. That cardiovascular work is happening there, even with those resistance exercises being quite deliberate and slow. I hope you've enjoyed this workout. Thank you very much once again for joining me in this one. I will see you very soon in the next one, and in the meantime, take care of yourself.